Putin just dropped a bombshell that has even Warren Buffett, America's famously cautious investor, issuing public warnings about serious risks to our economy. In a televised speech yesterday, Putin claimed he possesses evidence that could fundamentally change how Americans perceive their democracy. And he threatened to release it unless the West eases sanctions. But what's truly astonishing is that multiple intelligence sources are suggesting parts of his claims might actually hold water. It's hard to wrap your head around how we got here. Buffett, who has navigated every major crisis since the 1960s, described this as the most perilous moment for American credibility he's ever seen. And when Buffett raises the alarm, people need to listen. This isn't an empty bluff from Moscow. It's a calculated maneuver that could destabilize Western democratic institutions. Here's the backstory. Over the past 3 years, Vladimir Putin has been methodically building what intelligence officials desk as an information warfare arsenal aimed at the U.S. Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, he's been gathering sensitive data, intercepting communications, and preparing for what he calls a grand revelation about American hypocrisy. CIA insiders briefing Congress last month revealed that Putin assembled cyber experts, former KGB operatives, and even American collaborators to prepare for this moment. He isn't bluffing. He has documents, recordings, and data sets that could severely damage U.S. credibility worldwide. The real danger, though, is that Putin has accumulated information from numerous breaches of American systems over the last decade, covering everything from political emails to financial data to classified diplomatic cables. Former NSA Director Michael Rogers warned Congress in September that Russia has infiltrated systems we don't even know exist. This week's escalation happened when Putin went on Russian state TV and made his threat clear. He claimed to have proof of American election meddling abroad, evidence of economic manipulation via the Federal Reserve, and materials he says make Watergate look trivial. You might dismiss this as propaganda, but 3 European intelligence agencies have quietly confirmed to U.S. officials that some of Putin's claims appear credible. They've examined samples and are concerned. The trigger for this crisis was October 28th, when the U.S. Treasury unveiled its toughest sanctions yet against Russian oligarchs and banks, freezing over $300 billion in assets and cutting Russia off from Western markets. Putin responded within 48 hours, appearing on TV with what he called an insurance policy, a warning to release decades of intercepted American communications and hacked documents unless sanctions were lifted in 30 days. Reuters' Moscow bureau reported that he held folders on live TV, claiming they contained evidence of U.S. interference in elections across Latin America, Africa, and Asia, including recordings of officials plotting to manipulate foreign currencies and destabilize emerging markets. Then Putin made a claim that caught even experienced Russia observers off guard. He said he has proof from inside the Federal Reserve showing coordinated efforts to weaponize the dollar against countries opposing U.S. interests. That prompted Warren Buffett to speak out. Here's the shocking part. This isn't Putin's first use of compromat, but the scale and sophistication now is unprecedented. Think back. In 2016, he exploited hacked DNC emails to meddle in the U.S. election, a simple hack and release strategy. That was child's play compared to today. The 2020 SolarWinds breach had Russian intelligence embedded in U.S. systems for months. spying on nuclear programs and vaccine research, the most advanced cyber espionage ever recorded. We still don't know the full extent. And the Colonial Pipeline ransomware attack in 2021, while blamed on criminals, was likely a test of vulnerabilities and U.S. response. Even Havana syndrome incidents align with the strategy: sow confusion, create doubt, and make Americans question their government's ability to protect them. It's all part of Putin's broader plan to weaken U.S. power without direct military action. Each attack has grown more complex, each threat more credible, each potential impact bigger. We've moved from embarrassing emails to threats against the U.S. economic system itself. The pattern shows an evolution from tactical strikes to strategic operations, from targeting individuals to threatening institutions, from seeking leverage to attempting systemic damage. This puts the Biden administration in an extremely difficult position. On one hand, the administration cannot simply give in to Putin's demands and lift sanctions. Secretary of State Antony Blinken stated on October 30th that yielding to nuclear or informational blackmail would set a dangerous precedent that could haunt democracies for generations. On the other hand, ignoring the threat is equally perilous. If Putin releases genuinely damaging information on American activities abroad, it could fracture alliances, destabilize the dollar's reserve currency status, and fuel every theory about U.S. imperial overreach. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan convened an urgent meeting with tech CEOs on November 1st, urging them to prepare for unprecedented information warfare. Yet, as one participant told Politico, how do you prepare for the truth when the truth may be worse than the lies? The administration also faces mounting pressure from Congress. Senator Marco Rubio, vice chair of the Intelligence Committee, argued that if Putin's claims are true, preemptive action is necessary. Senator Chris Murphy countered that negotiating with information terrorists only encourages future attacks. Meanwhile, financial markets are reacting. The dollar has fallen 3% in a week, while gold prices are soaring. A Wall Street analyst noted markets hate uncertainty, and Putin just maximized it. The dilemma is brutal. Option 1. Maintain sanctions and call Putin's bluff. If he releases damaging information, the fallout could cascade. Alliances reconsidering intelligence sharing, countries shifting away from the dollar, and massive domestic political repercussions. Option 2. Negotiate and possibly lift some sanctions. But that signals to adversaries that information warfare pays off, that hacking, stealing, and threatening can bend policy. The third option, a preemptive cyber strike to destroy Putin's data, is nearly impossible. Intelligence officials warn the information is likely dispersed across multiple systems and countries. Washington is caught between capitulation and catastrophe, between showing weakness and risking devastation. Panic is fueled by Putin's methodical approach. Unlike past sloppy operations, this one is calculated. He set a clear deadline, made specific demands, and provided just enough evidence to make the threat credible without exposing everything. The Western alliance is already fracturing. Diplomatic cables obtained by the Financial Times reveal European leaders quietly urging Biden to consider negotiations. French President Macron reportedly told Biden, "We cannot risk the Western financial system over Ukraine." Eastern European nations, however, insist on maintaining pressure. Polish Prime Minister Morawiecki warned, "Giving Putin an inch risks losing a mile of freedom." NATO has not been this divided since Iraq. In Washington, the rifts are evident. Some Democrats call for full transparency. Release everything before Putin can weaponize it. Republicans are split. Hawks demand strong responses, while isolationists argue this proves disengagement from foreign conflicts. The intelligence community is similarly fragmented. Some analysts think Putin is bluffing. Others warn that even 10% of what he claims could be catastrophic. A third group advises assuming the worst and preparing accordingly. Warren Buffett's recent intervention added another layer. In a rare CNBC interview on November 2nd, he emphasized that trust is the foundation of the financial system, which Putin is targeting. He revealed Berkshire Hathaway is relocating assets to protect against potential currency instability. Corporate America is quietly panicking. JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon held an emergency meeting with major bank CEOs to discuss contingency planning. Sources indicate preparations for everything from massive cyber attacks to a potential dollar run. The legal response is unprecedented. On November 3rd, the Justice Department filed sealed indictments against unknown Russian operatives for conspiring in information warfare against the U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland called it hybrid warfare, demanding a hybrid response. Charges reportedly include economic espionage, market manipulation, and even terrorism for threatening critical infrastructure. Legal experts, however, are skeptical. George Washington University law professor Jonathan Turr, former CIA Director John Brennan offered one of the most sobering assessments on CNN, warning that Putin has identified the West's Achilles heel. Our commitment to transparency and truth can be exploited against us. He cautioned that authoritarian regimes worldwide are observing and learning. Conservative national security analyst Mike Gallagher, former congressman and China hawk, surprised many by agreeing with this assessment. On Fox News, he stated, "Whether we like it or not, Putin has revealed a critical vulnerability in our approach to foreign policy. We've been careless with secrets while advocating transparency." Even Henry Kissinger, at 100 years old, weighed in through a Wall Street Journal op-ed. The weaponization of information marks a return to Byzantine-style warfare, where perception often outweighs reality. The West must prepare for a new form of conflict. Russian specialist Fiona Hill, who has served under both Republican and Democratic administrations, told PBS, "Putin isn't merely threatening to release information. He is challenging the entire post-World War II order, built on trust among allies and the reliability of American power." Military strategist Edward Luttwak argues that this is a logical evolution of warfare in the nuclear age. Maximum damage with minimal kinetic action. He predicts every major power will soon pursue similar capabilities. Republican Senator Tom Cotton, known for his hardline national security stance, admitted on Meet the Press, "We may need to reconsider how intelligence operations are conducted if adversaries can turn our own methods against us." Let's consider the implications for American democracy. The immediate political consequences are staggering. With just 1 year until the 2024 presidential election, Putin has injected maximum chaos into the process. If damaging material is released, it will not only impact Biden, but also validate numerous conspiracy theories about the deep state and permanent Washington. Trump and his allies are already preparing to exploit any disclosures, regardless of context or accuracy. Republican strategist Karl Rove warned that this could make traditional October surprises seem trivial. Democrats fear that releases could be timed for maximum electoral impact. A senior Democratic strategist told Politico, "Imagine Putin dropping bombshells during primaries or right before the general election. He could literally influence the outcome." Institutional damage could be even more severe. Trust in government is already at historic lows. Should Putin reveal evidence of systematic deception regarding foreign interventions, currency manipulation, or election interference, it could shatter remaining public confidence. As a former State Department official put it, "How do you conduct diplomacy when no one believes anything you say?" Our intelligence agencies face an existential threat. If Putin exposes sources and methods, it could blind them for years. Allied intelligence networks are already reevaluating information-sharing protocols. The Five Eyes Alliance, the closest intelligence partnership, is under unprecedented strain. Economically, the consequences may be even greater. The dollar's global reserve status depends on trust. Should Putin's disclosures reveal systematic currency manipulation, nations might accelerate moves away from the dollar. China is already leveraging this narrative, promoting the digital yuan as an alternative. Warren Buffett's warning about market stability is no exaggeration. Consumer confidence, already fragile due to inflation and banking instability, could collapse. One Federal Reserve governor privately warned that a crisis of confidence could make 2008 seem manageable. Financial analysts are modeling scenarios where Putin's releases trigger bank runs, currency crises, and market crashes. In today's interconnected financial system, problems could cascade rapidly. As one risk manager noted in 2008, the concern was too big to fail. Now the challenge is too connected to survive. For the 2024 elections, this creates unprecedented uncertainty. Candidates must address national security, economic stability, and information warfare simultaneously. Voters may have to make decisions while navigating disinformation and leaked secrets. Some political scientists are concerned about election legitimacy. If Putin can strategically influence outcomes, will losing candidates accept the results? America could face a legitimacy crisis surpassing that of 2020. Putin has issued his threat, set a deadline, and provided just enough evidence to be credible. Warren Buffett, who has witnessed the Cuban Missile Crisis and the fall of the Berlin Wall, calls this the gravest threat to U.S. credibility he's ever seen. The coming weeks are critical. Putin's 30-day deadline leaves the Biden administration until late November to respond. Each passing day increases the pressure for negotiations while raising the stakes of appearing weak. Intelligence agencies are working around the clock for the 2024 elections. This creates unprecedented uncertainty. The question is no longer if Putin will act. It's whether the U.S. and its allies can respond without triggering the very catastrophe they seek to avoid. We are in uncharted territory where information is ammunition and truth itself has become a weapon. The stakes have never been higher. This isn't just about Ukraine or sanctions. It's about whether democracies can survive in an era where their openness becomes their greatest vulnerability. The countdown has begun, and the world is watching. For the 2024 elections, this creates unprecedented uncertainty.